Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach. Shiur Torah, Bruchim Habayim. We're back here in Torah doing our series, Wednesday night series, questions and answers. Tonight we'll do something a little bit special to not only show you guys something really interesting, but also answer a question that I had for a very long time. I'd say most of my life I never really understood this part until I saw it with my own eyes. You know, and I've already seen it many times, but I've never showed it to anybody else. I think you guys will find it very interesting. Even if you're not extremely versed in the Torah, or you're not extremely versed in Halacha, and you're not anything. This is something I think you'll see a big difference. That especially in the secular world, there's always questions about the intentions of rabbis, when it comes to money and things like that. I think this is a question that will answer a lot of an answer that will answer a lot of questions. But anyway, tonight's Shiur with Bezrat Hashem will be for a refuah shlema for Rabbi Ephraim ben Shulamit, Rabbanit Sarah bat Anat, Rabbanit Levana bat Sarah, David ben Esri Doris bat Jora, Yosef Yitzchak ben Baila Rochel, Stefan ben Katarina, Yitro ben Avraham, Talia bat Sarah, Michal bat Yael, Serach bat Batya, Batya bat Sarah, Orit bat Ilana, and Jonas ben Sheri Haley, Esther bat Zipora, Dvora bat Mercedes, Sharon bat Avraham, Adel bat Avraham, and Rafael ben Esther, and also for a Atzlacha Rabba for Marsha bat Julie, her dear daughter, baby Ayla bat Marsha, Gabriel ben Esther, Yitro ben Avraham, Shaul ben Farzane, Oshri ben Doris, Gabi ben Doris, David ben Nesria, and all of Am Yisrael. Bezrat Hashem will have Atzlacha Rabba b'kol ma'aseh yadayim hatovim, especially the ones that the Jewish, the non-Jewish people that help us do what we're doing, which is doing our best to lekadesh Shem Shamayim, to sanctify Kadosh Baruch Hu's name by sharing His Torah without any censoring, without any limitations, and trying to do everything possible to help Am Yisrael, to help the world see the truth about the Torah that we are so ignorant of. Every day you get new wonderful emails and messages, along with the many others that are not so wonderful and not so great. People have, unfortunately, a lot of problems, whether it's threats of suicide, or Shem Yishmor, people that have been molested or taken advantage of in other ways, or people that have problems in their family, Shlom Bayit. There's unfortunately a lot of that. But Baruch Hashem, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has mercy on us, and each day, Shtabach Shimo, each day there's a few more people that send another email, another message, to let us know that from these shiurim that you guys are watching, that everyone is watching, these very shiurim were the ones that helped them get close to Hashem, keep Shabbat, keep Tarat Mishpacha, keep kosher, abandon forbidden businesses and other acts, protect their brit, and countless other mitzvot that Baruch Hashem, you get to hear people do. And just today, these two young women sent a very nice thank you message about how they're both young girls, both Baruch Hashem did TeShuva, two sisters, and and send a nice blessing. And it's saying it warms your heart to hear it, but even more so, it gives you hope. It gives you hope because unfortunately there's so much bad in the world today that it's hard not to get lost in it. Every second person you meet is in a depression. So every other person is taking some type of pills for the depression, whether it's because of the COVID-19, or it's because of financial, or it's because of this, or it's because of that. And there's just so much bad in the world, and everyone is worried about the economy, or they're worried about the health, or they're worried about war, or they're worried about so many different things. So when you see that there's still, Baruch Hashem, people out there that are worried about Hashem and their relationship with Hashem, it gives you a lot of hope. It gives you a lot of hope that things, Baruch Hashem, are definitely getting better for those that are looking for the truth. Now, I'm sure you guys have, or at least I hope you guys have some questions that you ask, but I think this is something we need to do simply because it's extremely interesting. And also I think it will be a Kiddush Hashem to a certain extent, especially for people that don't know, are not aware. Now, we at Bezrat Hashem do everything. Anyone that saw a recent video, a 3-4 minute video that Baruch Hashem Team Hashem made about the different things, the alphabet of Bezrat Hashem, for every letter there's something that we do at the organization. Every letter of the alphabet, we have 1 or 2 things that we do, whether it's helping teach people that want to kill somebody, particularly babies that are in their stomach. So we try to teach them that it's a baby and it's not some steak. And we try to help women that are about to have an abortion in any way that we can, whenever we have the opportunity. Baruch Hashem, we've had a couple of times already where Mamash was last minute, and Ishtabach Shimon, not only did we merit to see the woman say no, she's not going to do it, but also see the baby too. And that little baby is going to grow up and never going to know how close they were to die. But because of the power of the Torah, Baruch Hashem, the baby is alive and well. And many other wonderful miracles. And you do a lot of different things. We also, we have our Kiruv packages that we send all over the world. We sent one recently to Philippines. We've sent them to India. We've sent them to Australia. We've sent things all over the place. Once in a while, people also purchase tefillin from us that we get from people that we know, that have a Yirat Shamayim, that we know who the Sephir is, meaning who the scribe is, that we know that this is not a person that's writing tefillin while watching the news. Or better yet, there was one story that became famous recently, a few years ago, where they found out that a certain Sephir was writing mezuzot while watching the news. But how could you find that out? Because he was so into the news, he wrote what part of the news on the mezuzah. He wrote a few words that he got from the news on the mezuzah. He didn't, his mind is in the news, not in the mezuzah. Or sometimes you have people that have no yirat shamayim, and many times not even any belief in God at all, where they hire goyim to write mezuzot or tefillin. Especially Asian people that have are more likely to have a skill set in writing Hebrew. And many times people, come to us, they all want to buy tefillin. And we tell them, listen, this tefillin is from somebody that we know, that has Yirat Shamayim, tzaddik, this, that. 9 out of 10 people have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, oh, yeah, thank you, Rabbi. Can you just send it to me? Like, how much? You send it to me? I don't have any money. Send it. Great. Once in a blue, we also deal with mezuzot. But mezuzot, it's a little more difficult. Why? People don't understand the value of mezuzot. And today I'm going to try to teach you what the value of mezuzah is briefly. But not just words. I'm going to show it to you. Because sometimes people come to me and ask me, do you have mezuzot? I say, yeah. How much is mezuzah? I say, I don't deal with cheap mezuzot. I don't have patience. I don't have patience to sell you $50 mezuzot. $50 mezuzah, I don't even know if it's kosher. Maybe you can find somebody who can send you $50 mezuzah, I'm sure. I don't deal with that. I usually deal with more expensive mezuzot. Not because I like to sell expensive stuff, but because I know this, it's worth it. It's worth it. So I have some basics that I get from a friend of mine. They're a little over $100 or so. That are basic mezuzot, but that are kosher. And I know this comes from a good source, which if compared to some, if you go on eBay, you could buy for $30. Or $10 or $5, whatever you want to buy it over there. On Amazon, maybe you could buy it. I don't deal with anything like that. That's newspaper. The cheapest one I've dealt with that I saw it's kosher, good quality, that I would be willing to put in one of my students' house, $125, something like that. So you have a house, 7, 8, 10 doors, it comes up to a couple of dollars. So he said, oh wow, it's expensive. I said, no, that's the cheap one. That's the cheap one. He goes, what do you mean that's the cheap one? I said, no, I usually deal with mezuzot that are $500 and more. I said, what? $500 for a mezuzah? For one? I said, one, barely, but one. And now I have, Baruch Hashem, a tzaddik friend of mine, that's a Dayan, Mekubal, Amash, something special. He's trying to help us not only sanctify Hashem's name, but he's also helping us by taking part of the cost himself. He's the one that's writing the mezuzot, but he says for a time being, he'll try to do his best he can to keep it at $350, which is for a $500 mezuzah, $350. But in reality, you buy this mezuzah anywhere else, it's going to be $1,000. But in reality, you're not going to buy it. Why? Why would you pay $1,000 for a mezuzah? Why would you pay $300 for a mezuzah? What is the difference between the mezuzah that you can buy on eBay for $30 or Judaica store for $50, $60, $70 and a mezuzah that's $125, a mezuzah that's $500? I mean, is there that much of a difference? I mean, Rabbi, isn't it after all just writing some words on a piece of scroll and we're finished? No. Now, I could explain it to you until I'm blue in the face, and you're not going to understand. Not because, chas v'shalom, you have any lackings, but simply this is something you have to see to believe. So without further ado, come up, the guys, come up, the ladies after, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I explained to you the difference, exactly what you get at a Judaica store, at a, at a eBay, at some place you don't even know. First and foremost, you need to know, come behind me. First and foremost, you need to know that if you buy it from a place that you don't know who wrote it, especially Judaica stores, eBay, Amazon, internet type of places, there's a very, very high chance it's not a kosher mezuzah, even if it's written perfect. One, either because it was written by a non-Jew, and if it's written by a non-Jew, even if that non-Jew is Job from the Tanakh, even if he wrote a mezuzah, it's not kosher. Why? That's the way it is. That's just the bottom line. He could be great. Mezuzot are only for Jews. So if a non-Jew wrote it, it's not. Or better yet, a machine. Machine wrote it. There's now a machine that they invented, the reforms, the reform heretics, they invented a machine that writes Sephir Torah. Germany. Sephir Torah, they write, it's not kosher. You can't pray from it, you got to burn it. But they don't care. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we read Parashat Ekev. Parashat Ekev is one of the places in the Torah that talks about mezuzot. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, "Ukatavtem al mezuzot betecha ubisharecha," that you shall write them on your doorpost, on your house, upon your gates. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us a mitzvah from the Torah to have mezuzot. Why? This is number one, a commemoration of what happened in Egypt. 10 plagues. You had a plague that millions of people died in an instant. Kadosh Baruch Hu killed the firstborn. But if you were one of the Hebrews, one of the Jewish people, or eventually become Jewish people, you put blood on your doorpost, you had protection. Malach HaMavet skipped you. So that's one. 2, it's protection for the house. 3, it's Divrei Torah. This is part of the Torah on your house. Now what if you have a Sefer Torah, $100,000 Sefer Torah inside your house? Do you need a mezuzah? That's what Korach asked. Ask Moshe Rabbeinu, if I have a house full of Sifrei Torah, Sefer Torah has the whole Torah, mezuzah has only a couple of paragraphs. So if I have a house full of Sifrei Torah, each Sefer Torah $100,000, $200,000, do I still need a mezuzah for $100? Korach said no. Moshe Rabbeinu said yes. Why? HaKadosh Baruch Hu said it. What happened? Korach, the ground swallowed him. Till this day, he's screaming. Him and all of the people that follow his family are screaming inside Gehenom. Moshe emet, Torato emet, HaKadosh Baruch Hu emet, everything's emet. And we are liars, he says. There's a Chacham, the Baal Ahavat Chaim, Sephir called Ahavat Chaim, has a lot of interesting stories. His grandson is a enormous Talmid Chacham, Rav Shani in Eretz Yisrael. He wrote in his Sefer that one time a Jew met one of these Arabs, and while he was traveling, and the Arab told him, "You want to come see something interesting?" He said, "What?" He said, "You want to come hear your Korach? You want to hear your Korach?" He said, yeah. He takes him to a certain place in the desert. He said, come over here. He starts hearing sounds. He goes, come closer, come closer. Hears sounds. He starts hearing. Moshe emet, Torah emet, Akadosh Baruch Hu emet, and we are shakranim, we're liars. He put out something in the ground. He says, it's so hot, they had to pretty much stay away from it. Mama showed him where it is. Now, so obviously, Korach was wrong about his whole idea of a mezuzah. Now, what is a kosher mezuzah look like versus non-kosher mezuzah, and so on. Now, I'm going to show you a few, so you see the difference with your own eyes. Okay. Okay. So you have, now if you're not a Biki, you don't speak Hebrew, you've never seen Sfat HaKodesh, or you don't know the difference, in the beginning it won't make much of a difference to you. Okay? But be patient and you'll see. This is a mezuzah. Size of it is not necessarily relevant. You can make them small, you can make them big. But you can see from here, the letters are what they are. And this is not a kosher mezuzah. Has many mistakes on it. For example, here in this word over here, baderech, the chav sofit looks like a nun sofit, so it spells baderen, not baderech. So it's supposed to. This is a verse from the Torah. Can't make mistakes like that. Other times, also again here, it's supposed to be a chav sofit and it's a nun sofit again. Other times you see some of the letters are too close to each other, there's very little space. But from the surface, there's not much of a difference that you can tell. I mean, it looks fine. Unless you know what you're looking for and how and who and what, it looks fine. It looks like a, mezuzah, right? Will you do me a favor? One of you, yeah? Hold this. Hold this open. Actually, you know what? We'll keep this, you'll hold it open when I show all three. I'll show three. Okay, now. This is also another mezuzah. The ktav, the writing, looks similar, but this is paper. This is printer paper. It's not cloth. It's printer paper that was made to look like, you can't write on printer paper. You have to write on a cloth. You have to write on a scroll. So, and on top of that, there's many, many mistakes, similar to the other one. Here you see that the two letters are touching. That's already a problem. The Anochi, the two letters, the Nun and the Chaf are touching. There is several different issues with this. But again, from the surface, if you don't know what you're doing, looks fine. It's Hebrew. Looks like the little bit sort of like what the Tanakh looks like. It's Hebrew. Kind of looks cool, actually, with the little crowns. What's the problem, right? Well, you have to look for it. So you figure, maybe it's only if there's spelling errors. Or if there's missing letters. No, it's not so much. Not just that. So you have that. This is a better quality one, but still not kosher. Also, similar, again, better quality writing, but also has a different errors on it. But again, you see the writing of what it is, right? Okay. Now these are different mezuzot that you buy from people, from eBay, from so on. Now if you have a real shark that loves Hashem, I'm being sarcastic, he writes you something like this on cardboard, and he has to probably have some type of mental problems to write such a thing. If you look over here, for example, this one is very special. This is very special. This, Anochi Metzavecha, but the tzaddik looks like a 3. Instead of a tzaddik, he wrote a number 3. Why? Because in script, The tzaddik looks like a 3, but even in script doesn't really look like this. Either way, point is you don't write script in the mezuzah. This mezuzah is what it looks like. But again, for the average person, it's Hebrew. It's Hebrew. Whatever, this mezuzah, that mezuzah, what's the problem, right? Okay. So, someone can hold this.
I can hold the paper one.
Okay. Paper. Okay, hold that one. Don't worry, you can't ruin them. They're already ruined. Okay, you hold this one, but hold it so the camera can see it. I don't want to see your hand. I want to see your...
okay.
You understand? That's the whole point. You see it? Okay, so you got that. Those two examples are enough. Okay. Now, a simple mezuzah that's kosher by Yireh Shamayim Jew, this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it's supposed to look like. Now, you have this, right? Judaica store, eBay, Joe Schmo, Steve, Yoshke, whoever's selling it, is what it looks like, right? Now, why would I go from $30, $50, $60, $70, $80, $90 and go pay almost double the price for kosher mezuzah? For what? Why would I do such a thing? Because this is what it's supposed to look like. You see, Rabotai, this is what it's supposed to look like. You don't even need to know how to speak a word of Hebrew. This is what it's supposed to look like this. This is a beautiful kosher mezuzah, not $500. But a good mezuzah that you know was written by Yireh Shamayim Jew, that is something that did not watch the news, not during and not after, not before. And this is what it's supposed to look like. You compare it to this this guy over here and this guy over here. Doesn't look so good anymore. Now, if Netanya, you could hold this one. What does a $500 mezuzah look like? There's a couple of different versions. I have one with me. The other one I forgot at home. Now this may look the same to some of you, but it's a world apart. Number one, because of who wrote it. Number two, because of the klaf. 3, because of the kavanot. 4, because of the actual writing itself. Either way, the difference between this and this is shamayim va'aretz, it's heaven and earth. But even the difference between something like this and this one, for anyone that understands the issue, is a world apart. Now, for your pocket, of course it's a world apart. But I'm talking about in reality, someone that understands the difference in writing, who, what, when, and how, these two are worlds apart. And a person that knows and is able, this is the only thing they would go with, simply because, again, this is a world apart. Now, the mezuzah, when you go and buy it from some place, you're not going to check it. You're just going to put it on your doorpost. So you have no idea if you have toilet paper in there, or you have one of these things, which is probably a little less than toilet paper, or you have, well, you don't know what you have. So you're not going to check it. And then sometimes you send it to certain people, oh, you can check it for me? Yeah, it's $10. Sometimes they don't really check, they just take the $10. So in reality, if you go and buy a mezuzah from a place you don't know, it's on you. It's on you. When you buy something from a place that you know, if you could afford an expensive one or not, bottom line is, this is the protection for your house. You don't need to be an expert to know that there's a world of difference between something like this, as beautiful as this, versus this thing over here. I'm not talking about the size. Forget about the size. You can make this smaller also. You wouldn't, but you get to make it small also. Why? Because if you recognize this writing, this one specific, you know why you recognize it? Because this is exactly what is in the Sefer Torah. This is how you write a Sefer Torah. Now, you write a Sefer Torah, it's $60, $70, $80, $100,000. Why? It takes a lot of work. An enormous amount of work. This, 5 minutes, if that much. And that's the reality. So that's the thing that I didn't know this. When I was young, I didn't know. Why would anybody spend $5,000 on mezuzah? Just go buy one for $50. Like, why would you go? Why go buy 5 of them for $200? Get a discount. Buy 5, get 1 free. You could do that. You could buy one 5 and get one free. But in reality, you have no protection on your house. You have something like this, you understand that somebody cares enough about a Kadosh Baruch Hu to do this. Because the people that usually do these things, they're not even doing it for the money. They're doing it, trying to make a living a little bit, whatever, but point is that to put that much work into it, it's not worth it. Why? It takes a really long time and there's not many customers. There's a lot of customers for junk. Junk, you could dime a dozen. But for good quality mezuzot, it's very difficult. Even, you guys could all go back. Thank you very much for your assistance. Thank you. Now, Rav David Yosef, Shichyeh, Rav Obadiah's son, one time told a story, and he said that he went and visited a student of his, and the student asked him, he said, Rabbi, I need to get some new mezuzot for my house. He said, okay, no problem. He goes, how much you get the mezuzot? They told him a price, I don't know, a couple $100 a mezuzah, whatever it was. Said, ooh, Rabbi, it's expensive. He goes, oh, yeah, maybe. Okay. Think about it. He's like, all right. He says, what, you get a new house? Yeah, you want to come see it? Sure. So he sees the house. And he sees the house, fancy house. And the Rav sees the window shades, the window treatment, they call it. In the rich world, the window treatment. Like as if they went to a spa. The window treatment, sees fancy schmancy. Says, where'd you get this? He goes, oh, Rabbi, this is from Italy. Psh, Italy, wow. This is expensive. He goes, it's the best. Rabbi, it's the best. How much is the best? He goes, honestly, Rabbi, each window cost me $25,000. Because the guy's a thief. Because Rabbi, how could you say such a thing? You know who this guy is? You know what kind of designer he is? You know how this and how that and how this and how that. It's like, oh, so if he's good, it needs to be expensive. Because yeah, obviously. So how come a guy that decided to make himself famous by marketing himself as a certain way, no problem for you to spend $25,000. But a guy that learns Torah all day and spends maybe an hour a day at 3 o'clock in the morning when he has time, writing a mezuzah, but he wants to sell for a couple $100, that's too much. It's too much. How come? How come $25,000 for a window is not too much? And the guy never understood. Never understood until he realized from his own mistake that when you don't value something, every price is expensive. When you do value something, you'll pay anything for it. But sometimes you have to see it to believe it. You have to see it to believe it. I have another one, a bigger version of this. I personally like the other one even more, but that's just my personal preference. And the beautiful thing is that when you see mezuzot once in a blue moon, somebody, people ask me about to check their mezuzot. I don't really like to do it because it takes a lot of time, but I do it whenever it's needed and there's nobody else to do it. And every time, I'm shocked at how people buy this stuff without knowing what they bought, but worse yet, how someone would even allow themselves to sell it. Like how wicked you have to be to sell such a thing. Like, it's not even, forget about that, even the kosher version, even if, let's say, for example, the other two that you saw were kosher, if you compare the writing, it's not meudal. It's not good quality. It's like, okay, so even if, let's say, all the letters were in the right place, okay, and there was no spelling errors, and they were all drawn the right way, the writing difference, the difference in quality of writing, you see, this one took, 10 minutes, that one probably took a couple of hours. What? Because you see that there's a big difference. So even if it's a kosher version, you see that there's a big difference. But when you see that someone sells you something that's printer paper, or cardboard, and on top of it they write you a handwriting that you have to probably be, have some type of mental deficiencies. To write, what do you see? What do you see? Lack of Yirat Shamayim. No fear of Hashem, and only fear of money. And the Gemara says, someone that has an addiction to money, it's more dangerous than anything else. It's more horrible than anything else. Why? They'd even sell their parents. How so? So the Gemara gives an example. He says the Chachamim made a gezerah that as soon as a person passes away, Shem Yishmo, even if he's a tzaddik, his body becomes tameh, impure. Not to touch it. If you touch it, you become tameh, but we're all tameim now. But the point is that the body is tameh. He says, why do they make the body is tameh? Why? He says, because if the body did not become tameh, the kids that are obsessed over money and are fighting over the inheritance of their father or mother, they're going to fight. You get the house, I'll take the land. You get the bank account, I get the stock account. You get this, you get that. Oh, how come you took more than me? How come you took more? They're going to fight. Eventually they're going to get to the bottom line. Okay, fine, but you got more than me. You know what? That's it. I'm taking Abba's skin, I'm taking Ima's skin, and I'm going to take that. That's me. I'm taking the body. It's my body. And they take this, they said, Chachamim said, they would have taken the parents' skin and turned it into carpets. Because when you have an addiction to money, and that's your God, you don't see that there's anything wrong with that. No, I'm commemorating the honor of my dad every time we step on the carpet, or every time we have a nice window shade. We think of Abba and Ima. Well, Abba, Ima, right here, we look at them all the time. Why? Addiction to money. It's a very dangerous addiction, and unfortunately, Rabotai Yekarim, Chachamim told us that the last 2,000 years of the world, the first 2,000 years had a certain test, second 2,000 years had a second test, and third, the biggest test is money. People are simply addicted to money. They have no problem spending money to go to some non-kosher vacation, no problem spending $3,000-$4,000 on a navigation system on a car, no problem to spend $20,000-$30,000 on a watch, no problem spending all types of money for nonsense, but when it comes to Torah, all of a sudden everybody's broke. Rabbi, you have tefillin? Yeah. What kind of tefillin do you want? Do you want the good ones, the top of the line, a couple of $1,000, $1,500, more, this? No, Rabbi, no. You have something cheaper? Yeah, you get maybe for $900. You have a job, right? Yeah, I have a job. $900 you want? No, you have something cheaper. Okay, you want to spend $600? $600, you can afford $600? I mean, it's kosher, but it's not the best. I mean, it's not really for you. I mean, you should get some. It's good. At least you have tefillin. You have something cheaper, Rabbi? You have something cheaper? What do you want? $50? $50? Yeah, you have those? Yeah, you have? No. Oh, you know who does? Yeah, Kmart. Costco. Go buy from Costco. Guy makes $50, $100, $200,000 a year, wants to buy a couple $100 tefillin. Why? How come your car? You didn't think twice before you committed to a monthly plan, $500, $700 a month for a car? How come when you, the phone that you wanted, you didn't think twice before spending $800 on the first day it came out because you wanted to be the first to have the phone? $800 on a phone. How come you didn't think twice before that new Rolex came out for a discount of only $18,000? First one to buy it. Discount. Cheap. Balash. Almost free. How come? It comes to tefillin, it comes to mezuzot, it comes to a talit. You see grown men wearing their bar mitzvah tefillin. The guy is 35 years old, he's still wearing the same tefillin his parents bought him when he was 13 years old. Abba, can you buy me mezuzot for my new house? But you bought the house though, $500,000 house, $1 million house. Yeah, but don't you have the connections with the rabbi? Maybe he'll give it to you for a discount. How come you didn't ask for a house discount? You want to save $20 in a mezuzah? I want to save $50 in a mezuzah? No, but Rabbi, it's 10 mezuzot, 20 mezuzot. Oh, it's 20 mezuzot and you're actually complaining? What does 20 mezuzot mean to a smart person? You have 20 rooms. That's what it means. If you have 20 rooms, you could afford the $500 mezuzah and a $1,000 mezuzah if you have 20 rooms in your house. But what does a person that's in love with money think? 20 rooms, even if I get the cheap one, it's at least a couple of $1,000. Ooh, Rabbi, you guys are all about money. You guys, all you want is money. No, we don't want money. In fact, take your money. We don't want to sell to you. How about that? A woman came to Rabbi Ponovich years ago. Rabbi Ponovich had yeshiva, thousands of young men learning Torah non-stop, multi-million-dollar budget. So they need to raise a lot of money. Rich woman comes, American, gave the rabbi check, wrote a check on a spot after she saw everything. Here you go, Rabbi. She writes a check on a spot. She gives him a check, $250,000. She gives the rabbi a check, thank you very much. And she reaches out her hand to shake his hand. So the rabbi had good midot. Of course, you're not allowed to shake a woman's hand if you're a man. If you're a woman, you can shake another woman's hand. If you're a man, you're not allowed to shake another woman's hand. There are some poskim that are more lenient with it if it's for the sake of business and things like that. But in reality, Rabbi says no. You want to rely on leniencies? Good luck to you. No problem. But, generally speaking, no reason for you in the world to shake a woman's hand. How do you do it? This is what Rabbi Ponovich says. He goes, no. We never say goodbye to our partners. In a nice way. We never say goodbye to our partners. We are going to continue talking, this, that. But she got the point. But she didn't like it. She got the point, but she didn't like it. So she said to him, so my money is good, but my hand's no good? Rabbi Ponovich says, no, your money is not good either. Here's your check. He gives back the check. $250,000. Here's a check. No, we don't want your money. Let it go. Gone. Take your $250,000. Chindea. What we say in French, Arabic. Anyway, a year later, get mail every day, Yishtabach Shimo, envelope shows up, check in there, $100,000. Who? From that lady. Oh, Rabbi, here, look, the woman sent $100,000. He says, give me an envelope. Okay, writes an envelope, send it right back to her. We don't want her money. This is not the kind of money we want. Send it back. Why? If you think you're buying the Torah with your money, look somewhere else. Look somewhere else. You cannot buy heaven with your money. You have to earn heaven. Sure, you can get a lot of merits and things like that with investments in the Torah and the Kiruv and things like that. But you still have to fulfill the Torah. You still have to believe in it. You still have to follow it. But if you disrespect it because you gave money, it was better off you didn't give money. And that's actually what the Gemara says. The Gemara says, how come Korach got 250 of the biggest rabbis in the world at the time of Moshe Rabbeinu to follow him? The Gemara says because Korach was the richest man of the land and he was a big donor. And all of those rabbis already, by the time he came to them and told them that he's trying to go against Moshe Rabbeinu, they were already in his pocket. What ended up happening? They all died. A horrible, horrific punishment by Kadosh Baruch Hu himself. Why? You can't buy the Torah. It's not for sale. You have to fulfill it, you have to respect it, you have to honor it. And unfortunately today, Rabotai, we honor money a lot more than we honor the Torah. What's a test? You can always test yourself. You're in the middle of a Shiur Torah. You're in the middle of learning in your house. You get a business call. Client calling your phone. Do you answer? Client's going to offer you $1,000, $10,000, $50,000. You answer? If you answer based on a certain price, that's how much you value the Torah. That's how much you value the Torah. If you're going to answer because the client could potentially give you, or he is going to give you, $1,000, $50,000, that's how much the Torah is worth for you. That's how much it's worth to you. If you don't answer, that means the Torah is worth more to you than whatever money someone's going to offer you. And this is a constant test. It's a constant test for us when we learn, when we pray, when we're simply living our life. So it's important for us to know that, if you're going to buy a kli kodesh, you're going to buy a mezuzah, a tefillin, a talit, a tzitzit, anything that's connected to Hashem, this is not one of those places that you just buy anything because it's expensive, or you look for discounts. When you invest into the Torah, it's not just investing into buying CDs. It's also investing into your own stuff that you deal with every day. Your tefillin, your tzitzit, your mezuzah, wherever it is. You have to invest. What does it mean invest? Not just the money. The time, the research. Do I know who wrote this? Do I know who did this? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Is it just buying because you have to put some more thought into it. This, Rabotai, thought is very valid because I know that myself, when I was younger and stupider, I had a lot of questions, and one of my questions was, why would anybody spend so much money on mezuzot? Until I saw it with my own hands, and I started checking other people's mezuzot, and so on and so forth, and I see the difference. Spoke to a few serious mekubalim, people that understand who, what, when, and how, and you say it, it's like I show them a mezuzah, that even a kosher mezuzah, and then I show them the other one, and said, okay, so that one, that's like a taranta, and that one's like a plane. You know what taranta is? In third world countries, many times they can't afford cars. So they have these little two-wheelers that are 8,700 years old. This time from the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, but they're still driving somehow. That's a taranta. Plane, 787. I don't know, the president's plane. That's the difference. That's the difference between, I'm talking about kosher one. I'm not talking about the non-kosher is garbage. I'm talking about kosher one. Versus something that's high-end. Why? Because again, who, what, when, and how is very, very important in Torah. So, with that being said, Bechavod, who wants to start with some questions? Okay, Joshua.
My question is, if somebody does an act or behaves some way unintentionally, and the other person sees this and as a result gains something spiritual, benefits him spiritually and learns from it, is the person who behaved or did something unintentional somehow rewarded for that?
So if someone does something unintentionally and somebody else benefits from it, is the guy that did something unintentionally get rewarded for it? That's the question? I mean, the particular deen of Shamayim is unknown, simply because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is merciful, kind, and endless. But generally speaking, no. Generally speaking, the person that is simply going like this in the middle of the street because he's trying to flag his friend to pick him up, but somebody else from all the way down the road is looking for a sign. God, speak to me, please show me. If you love me, show me somebody saying hello to me. And he looks down the road and he sees and he thinks you're saying hello to him. No, you don't get a reward. It's Hashem used you for him, for whatever reason Hashem has, but you're not going to get a reward for that, generally speaking. Will Hashem give you a reward for such a thing? Maybe. It's Hashem's world. He can run it the way he wants, but generally speaking, no. Where do we learn that from? Where's the Raya? The Rambam writes that you have the Sheva Mitzvot B'nei Noach, the 7 Noahide laws, which we went over last week. Now, the 7 Mitzvot B'nei Noach the 7 Noahide laws are generally speaking common sense. You don't need the Torah to tell you not to murder. You know it as a human being. You know that it's not good to murder. Even as a little boy, a little girl, you already knew that murdering is not a good thing. Adultery, not a good thing. Idol worship, not a good thing. Eating an animal while still alive, not a good thing. And so on and so forth. Now the Rambam writes, if a goy keeps those 7 Noahide laws, because God said so, he has a share of the world to come. He goes to heaven. He knows these are the laws, obviously also ethical rules and so on, he follows it, he goes to heaven. But if he keeps those rules, not because God said so, but simply because they make sense to him. It makes sense to him not to murder. It makes sense to him not to steal. It makes sense to him not to pray to some Buddha. It makes sense to him. The Rambam writes, not only does he not go to heaven, but he's considered in Shamayim as a stupid person. He's considered, instead of being called Chasdei Umot HaOlam, which is the righteous among the nations, he's called the fools of the world. Why? You did the work, but you're not going to get paid. Why? Wrong intention. No intention. You did it with no intention. So that's one of the rayot that I can give you off the top of my head, b'siyat d'ishmaya, of why unintentional acts, generally speaking, will not earn you a reward. Can it? Possibly. That's the neshamayim. Be'ezrat Hashem, after 120 or whenever HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides to talk to me personally, tell me otherwise. If he allows me to come back to you guys and give you guys another shiur, I'll tell you a different answer. But to my knowledge, that's the answer. Chavo, who wants the next question? You had a question the other day that you sent me on a text, didn't you? Something. I think you did. There we go. No. Okay. Women in today's corporate world. Does a religious Jewish woman belong in the corporate business in today's generation? What type of businesses are kosher for religious women? This is a very serious question. And the reason why is because on one end, every family that's not living as part of the Doa De'ah, the generation of knowledge that gets man from Shamayim, has to make a living somehow. So everyone needs to make a living. Everyone needs to sustain themselves. And you have to go to work. Now, even if your husband is a tzaddik, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to make money as a result of it. He could be an avrech making, a few $100s a month, which means that the wife has to work. Or otherwise, if the lifestyle that you live is not enough for one income. You live in certain parts of the world, you live in New York, you live in different places, the rent is high, the mortgage is high, the food is high, everything is high, and your husband does not make enough money at his job to sustain just even the basics. So the wife needs to work. So first question is, should women work if there is no other choice? Yes. If there's no other choice, a woman needs to work. There's no problem with a woman working on the grand surface of things. Where do you guys see it on a regular basis? You see it on Shabbat. On Shabbat, you sing Eshet Chayil Mi'imtza. The song Shlomo Melech wrote about his own mother. Right? Eshet Chayil, but it's really about the Torah. Now, Eshet Chayil, what is she, Eshet Chayil? What is this woman of valor? It says she goes to the markets, she makes sales, she does things, she works. She makes a living. Her husband is learning, doing Torah and so on, and she also makes a living. So it says that her husband is respected and known by all the elders, which means that her husband is a Talmid Chacham and she works. So can women work? Yes. We see from the Torah. We see from the Torah that women do work. Do they have to work? Not necessarily. If the husband works and there's no need for the woman to work, then she shouldn't work. If there's enough money coming from the husband or some other way, there's no need whatsoever for the woman to work. And she shouldn't work. She should focus on raising her kids. But if there's no other choice, whether it's because the husband is not making enough or not making at all, then the woman has to work. Somebody has to work. Now, does that mean that she should just simply take any job? Obviously, everyone with common sense, no, the answer is no. Answer is no. What kind of jobs can they work? It has to be a kosher job. Meaning, first of all, it has to be an ethical business. You cannot go work in an unethical business, whether it be a bar, a nightclub, a cash advance business, a business that goes against God in one way or the other. It has to be, generally speaking, a kosher business. Meaning that a business that's not forbidden according to the Torah just by default. Even if you're not the CEO of it, even if you're simply a doorknob, in that job you're still not allowed. Why? The place is not kosher, you being a doorknob in it is going to be a problem. You cannot be involved in any way in a non-kosher business. So that's one. Has to be a kosher business by overall. Secondly, the environment, you should try the best you possibly can. The environment needs to be as kosher as possible. Meaning, if you're a woman, the less men, the better. The less men that you have to interact with. There could be 1,000 men, but the less men you have to interact with, the better. Why? Obvious reasons. Obvious reasons. Third, most important, you have to do everything possible to work with people that observe the Torah. And forbidden from working with people that are against the Torah. To the opposite of the Torah. Like, don't go work for some atheist, heretic, lefty liberal that hates God and he's one of the people that's investing into one of these, anti-God organizations. You have to try to deal with people that are Yirei Shamayim. Now again, this is the latter part is really to be more stringent, but really the more stringent you are, the more you'll have blessing on your life. Now that makes your life more difficult though. Why? Because most jobs are not going to have people like this. Most jobs are not going to have a thing. But the point being is that you have to do your best. You have to do your best to pray to Hashem, to give you an appropriate job, to give you a job that has good quality people, both men and women, that are good quality, even the guys. Even the guys. Don't go work in a place that's unethical. Don't go work in a place that's immoral. Don't go work in a place that's immodest, and so on and so forth. Why? Because, again, we are not allowed, according to the Torah, we are not allowed to put ourselves in a way of a test. Where even though you're just the janitor, let's say, but you're the janitor at a club. You're the janitor at some stadium that has all types of tinofit, all types of filth there. You're just a janitor. Reality is, even though you're just a janitor, you'll be exposed to different tests that you wouldn't be had you worked for a UPS, had you worked for a some other company that's a relatively neutral business. So you have to try to not only pick a kosher job, but also a kosher environment, not put yourself in a way of test. And if you're a woman, even more careful. Even more careful. Why? Because unfortunately women are a target for every man. Men don't care if you're married. Men don't care if you are wear a kisui rosh. They don't care if you have 5 kids at home. They care less. So that means that you also have to have a certain attitude which is business only. Business only, meaning, yes, you are allowed to work with other men that are your colleagues or whatever it is, that are co-workers in the company. It's not a problem. But it's business only. No minimal conversations, just chit-chat. Oh, how is your wife? None of that. Is the report ready? Thank you. Bye. Now, yeah, you can say, oh yeah, but it's cold. Maybe it doesn't make a difference. Minimal. I'll tell you, I always tell you guys this, it's a sad reality that many times you see that in a religious world, unfortunately, there are horror stories where the spouses, the wives, the husbands cheat on the wives, wives cheat on the husbands. Who? With who? Co-workers. It's the number one most common thing. Women that are religious at times. And I know firsthand a few stories. More stories than I want to know. Firsthand. Women have kisui rosh on. Keep Shabbat, kosher, everything. Have kids at home. Cheat on their husbands for an extended period of time with a coworker. Why? Spend a lot of time friendly, too friendly, or worse yet, unfortunately, sometimes you have these monsters as bosses which make the women feel like they're nothing, and they tell, in essence, convince them or otherwise which there was a story that was, became public knowledge in the last year or two of some monster in Eretz Israel who pretty much had his way with all of his female employees, one victim after another. And the reality is that these women, many times, they're coming from religious houses. They're naive. They're not familiar with the ways of the world in many cases. They don't know who, what, when, and how, and they fall. They fall. So that's why I also told you guys last week that it's very important for the women to be careful, the men to be careful, but also to be careful for each other. Check on each other. Jealousy between a marriage that's healthy is important. It's not only good, it's important to have jealousy between the husband and the wife. Why? You need to know where she is. She needs to know where you are. If you don't want your wife to know where you are, that's because you're a liar. That's because you're a cheater. No, but I haven't cheated. You haven't had the chance yet. But the only reason you don't want your wife to know where you are is because you're planning on cheating. Just give me the opportunity. Your wife should know where you are at all times. Why? I don't have any privacy? No. No privacy. Why? You got married. Same thing for the wife. Same thing. Your husband needs to know where you are. Why? He's your husband. He's your husband. Now people that, no, but I'm just going to go away with my friends, stay single. You want to keep going away with your friends, you want to go hang out with your friends, stay single. Don't get married. Why? Do us all a favor. We don't want any more additions to the divorce rate. The reality is most of these divorces, they start because of things people see at work. They see things at work, they befriend people at work, they spend a lot of time with people at work, and unfortunately people get too friendly. So yes, you are allowed to work. Yes, you should work sometimes. Again, like I told you, depending on the situation, but that does not mean you could just do anything you want. You have to be careful, just like anything else. You're allowed to eat, but not everything. You're allowed to enjoy, but not everything. You're allowed to look, but not at everything. Everything is allowed, but not everything. You understand? Just a kosher version of everything. And that's, in essence, applies to everything in the world. Hashem created the world, this beautiful world, with a lot of stuff in it. We are allowed to enjoy this world, but just the kosher parts of it. Kosher part. There's a kosher vacation. There's a kosher food. There's a kosher spouse. There's a kosher reading. Everything, there's a kosher version of it. Everything. Hashem is not creating the world for you not to enjoy it. You're supposed to enjoy this world. There's no problem. But with restraint, with limitation, with thought, and not simply on instinct like an animal. So when it comes to work, yes, a woman should, and a man should, if it's necessary for different reasons and so on, but again, with a lot of thought. And this is also why sometimes you have to consult with your rabbi, with Talmid Chacham, that knows what he's doing before you decide to take on certain jobs. If you have doubts, if you have questions, should I take this job, should I not take this job? I have a few students that have asked me. Sometimes I tell them to take the job, sometimes I tell them not to take the jobs for different reasons. For different reasons. It's not a mitzvah to be poor. It's not a mitzvah to be poor. You're allowed to be successful, you're allowed to work, you're allowed to be ambitious, but not at the cost of God. Not at the cost of heaven. So, if you're already going to work, be the best at it, do the best that you possibly can, but again, always have God in mind first. Next question. The rest of you guys know? Here you go. Somebody knows.
When discussing Nidah, the Morale explains that the cloud over Sarah's tent was alluding to the fact that she kept Nidah, and the cloud over the tent is compared to the clouds of glory that were stationed over the Mishkan. Why is this comparison made?
Why is the cloud over the Mishkan versus the cloud over Sarai Imenu? Well, the woman in the Torah is called Bait. The Mishkan was the Bait Hashem, the house of Hashem, and that was the Bet HaMikdash of the desert, and it was the only Bet HaMikdash that was not destroyed. We took it down and they built the Bet HaMikdash in Yerushalayim, but the one that Moshe Rabbeinu put together was put together, and they would travel with it and so on. But it was never destroyed by Baruch Hashem. But what was this bait? What was this mishkan? This was bait Hashem. This was the house of Hashem. A woman in the Torah is also uses an analogy and called bait. Why? Wherever your wife is, that's where you live. That's your bait. She is your bait. Why? Because first and foremost, when you have a good kosher marriage, a marriage that's the way it's supposed to be, your wife is in essence where you want to be at all times. A person that loves his wife, knows how important his wife is, doesn't want to be away from his wife. Even Rav Kanievsky, already in his when he was in his 80s, one time his wife told him that she has to go take care of something. Rabbanit was very busy woman. She had to go. Rav Kanievsky, there were some students. He says, they were listening to the conversation. Rav Kanievsky says, "When are you coming back?" "Oh, I'll be back in an hour." "Oh, can you make it in 45 minutes?" Students were wondering, like, why is Rav Kanievsky, 80 years old, what does he care if his wife is going to be back in an hour and 45 minutes? Where's she going to go hang out with some guys? Like, where's the Rabbanit going? She's going to do something important. So they asked the Rav, what's the difference? Rav Kanievsky, Gdol Ador, learns more Torah in 1 year than most people learn in their entire life. He says to the people there, when the Rabbanit is not in the house, I don't have Yeshuva dat. I can't study. I can't learn. Yeah, I'll learn, but I can't learn. Why? I'm thinking about, where's my wife? At 80 years old. Why? That's a Jewish marriage. A Jewish marriage is not a marriage that's purely based on physical. A Jewish marriage is a marriage between two neshamot that connect, and their love and affection for each other increases with every single moment that they're alive. Whereas in the secular world, the love, if it ever exists at all, deteriorates with every single day together. Why? Because it's dependent on the physicality of a person. And the reality is, if you look at my pictures when I was 18 years old, I was a good-looking kid. Hashem yishmor v'yatzil, look at me today. Look what happened to me. I tell my wife, poor you, look what happened to you. Look what you got. You look at me when I was a hunk when I was 18. Nice, good looking, handsome, muscles, everything. Look what you got. I got an old man. But that's what happens to you too, guys. What do you think? Are you going to be good looking for the rest of your life? So what happens? You get older. And the women also. She's not going to be Malkat Yofi forever, the 20-year-old that you bought. You know, when she's 60 years old, it's not going to look the same. Now, if you have a secular mentality, even if you're religious, but you have a secular mentality, and you care only about the physical of your wife, and guess what? Your love for them will deteriorate with every single day that you're next to each other. Every single day, it'll deteriorate. Why? Bad hair day, bad this day, bad that day. You saw a good-looking woman that day. Every day, deteriorate more and more and more. Eventually, you just can't stand each other. Sleep in different rooms, talk to different people, treat each other like garbage. Why? Because you're like, whatever. I'm already 70 years old. I'm stuck with her. What could I do? But if some 20-year-old came to me, why? Because you can't. Because there's no love there. It was all based on physical. In the Jewish world, in the holy Jewish world, Ishtabach Shemo La'ad, a gift from Shamayim. What? HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you a foolproof system of how to love each other more every single day. More every single day. Now, unless you're married, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I can tell you, I'm married, Baruch Hashem, 17 years. Now, when I first met my wife, I thought, wow, this is great. And everybody that meets their wife in the beginning, wow, it's great. Yeah, I love her, I love him, I'm so excited to get married, we're going to have kids, and maybe a couple of dogs, and we're going to have a bedroom here, and they play house, yeah, everybody's excited, right? If you follow the protocol that Hashem put us in this book, the love you had, or you thought you had, on day one, will seem like hate, in comparison to the love you're going to have in 10, 15, 20 years from now. That's what the difference is. Now, yeah, you did love them in the beginning, or maybe. Yeah, I'm not saying you didn't. But that love is so minimal in comparison to what it's going to be in 10, 15 years from now. If it's in the way of Torah. If it's not in the Torah, say Kaddish on day one. But that's the reality. And again, much of this, you have to see it to believe it. You have to see it to believe it, but we can't wait to see everything to believe it. You have to simply take the words of Chazal. But it's very, very important for a person to know that the Jewish marriage, the Jewish life, is indeed the best possible life that could exist, simply because you have instructions. You have a cheat sheet. You have a cheat sheet from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, how to beat the game. That's what everybody wants to do. Everybody wants to beat the game, but they don't want to use the cheat sheet. Why? Oh, it's hard. Yeah, but it's hard, but it's easy. The other part looks easy, but it's hard. It's hard in the beginning because you're not used to complying with all these rules. But in the end, it's easy. Why? No divorce, no problems with the kids, no problems with money, no problems with a lot of things. Yeah, you'll have problems, but you'll know the answer of who, what, when is giving you the problems. Whereas the other way, only problems, and no idea why. It looks easy in the beginning, but in the end, there's divorce, and then there's all types of other issues that you don't need me to tell you, just simply see it around you in society. You're never going to see a single couple that's without Hashem in their life, that's happy after the honeymoon days are over. A single one. Why? It's impossible to be happy without Hashem. Impossible. Next question. So, to finalize your answer is, the woman is the bite. Without this bite, no marriage. Yes, in the back.
Last week,
Bite Hashem, bite...
we learned from the step down that there's certain things, I don't remember exactly, when a woman does, should be lonely for eternity. I think that was
Okay.
Does that imply that the souls, at least the last, incarnation, will be together? If they both make it, will they be together in Olam HaBa?
The question is, bottom line is, what happens after the husband and the wife leave this world? Do they both go to the same Olam HaBa or no? Bottom line, right? So Stump The Rabbi told somebody, I came to him and asked him about a shidduch for his daughter. And he told him that this guy's a nice guy, but he doesn't learn Torah. So Stump The Rabbi says, no, your daughter should not marry this guy. Even though he's a nice guy, you should not marry him. Why? Because your daughter's a tzadikah. This guy's not learning Torah, so they're definitely not going to be together in Olam HaBa. Not going to be together in Olam HaBa. Why? Because every person goes to his place based on his merits. If the wife does the job that she's supposed to in this world, that means that she's not only going to be a arm candy for her wife, for her husband. She's not only going to be a baby oven. What is she going to be? She's also going to raise a house of Torah. The kids are going to go to yeshiva. The daughters are going to go to Bet Yaakov. The husband is going to go learn Torah. Even if he works, he's going to go to Shiur Torah. Every day he's going to learn Torah. Every day. Why? It's important for the husband to learn Torah for the wife, not just for the husband. For the wife. Every day she has to make sure the husband learns Torah. In the morning a little bit, at night a little bit more when possible. That is the responsibility of a woman. What Gemara says, that's what a woman goes to Gan Eden for. By raising a house of Torah and sending her husband to go learn Torah. That's what she goes. Now if the wife tries to send her husband, but her husband's a deadbeat, doesn't want to go, doesn't want to learn, doesn't want to do nothing, he wants to go watch soccer games. And she's a tzadikah. And she tried everything. She tried to convince him with food. She tried to convince him with all types of wonderful love. And she tried to convince him with gifts. And she tried to convince him year after year. And she cried to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, day and night. Day and night, please Hashem, open his eyes. Let him watch the Shiur Torah. Let him read the Chumash. Let him go to the Shiur. Let him do, please Hashem, I'm trying. I tried making him his food. I tried all types of things. All types of things. He's not doing it. He's a mamash a chamor, this guy. He does not want to learn. I tried everything. Hashem, please soften his heart. He's like Paro. It's like Paro. I didn't know that I married Paro when I married him. I didn't know. And she cries to Hashem. Hashem will help her. Hashem will help her. But even if after that he remains paro, and she's a tzadikah, surely they're not going to be in the same Gan Eden. Why? He's not going to Gan Eden. He's not going to Gan Eden. So surely they're not going to go to the same place. Now, the Rogachover Rebbe was such a gaon, such a giant in Torah. It's hard to fathom. In order to talk to him, to simply speak to him, you had to be a Talmid Chacham. To understand. He was an enormous Talmid Chacham, a Chabadnik. And he was very, very aggressive with Talmidei Chachamim. If some Talmid Chacham would come, ask a question that's off, or make a comment that's off, he'd tear him up. Tear him up. The people will cry. Hamash. One time, this rabbi, who was not exactly a very likable person, was going to visit. And they said, you're going to go see the Rogachover Rebbe? He didn't really want to. But how can you go to the town with the Rogachover Rebbe? The Gedol Hador is there and you're not going to go see him. Might as well not go. It's embarrassing. So he said, how am I going to go see? He's going to tear me up. It's what was well known, that the Rogachover Rebbe was Kodesh Kodeshim, but he was fire, from much fire. Anyway, he says, okay, I'm going to take a chance. This rabbi wrote a book or two. I'll hold my own. Came, got to the Rogachover Rebbe's house. He welcomed him very nicely, spoke to him really, really nicely, gave him a drink, this, that. Nothing, regular conversation. Really nice to him, actually. So at the end of the meeting, he said, oh, thank you, Kvod Harav. Appreciate it. But just one thing, Kvod Harav. It's just, I don't know, people said that the Rav is very aggressive and, when it comes to dealing with Talmidei Chachamim. But Baruch Hashem, the Rav was very nice to me. He says, yeah, I'm only like that with Talmidei Chachamim. Meaning what? You're not Talmid Chacham. Not Talmid Chacham. I'll be nice. You're a regular person. I talk to you like a regular person. Talmidei Chacham, I have to be critical of him. Why? It's fire. Fire, to keep him up, to keep him sharp. Now this Kodesh Kodeshim, one day, he says to his students, I know I'm only going to go to Gan Eden because of my wife, my Rabbanit. Gedol Hador says, only because your wife. Well, what does your wife do? He says, see, my wife's tzadikah. All day she does chesed, she does mitzvoth, all day. She's going to go up to Shamayim. She's going to go up to Shamayim. She's going to say to her, I'll go to Gan Eden. I'm going to go to Gan Eden. Okay. Then one day, she says, I'm also going to go. Before, afterward. And my wife is going to say, okay, where's my husband? No, your husband is... You didn't know. No, boy, I sent him to go learn Torah. I said, yeah, but he made mistakes. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So why? We're going to send this guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. He's talking about himself. I'm going to send this guy who doesn't know what he's talking about. Yeah, he learned Torah for all these years. Yeah, but he made mistakes. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It's not going. No, we can't. My wife's going to start crying. She says, what do you mean? I sent him to go learn Torah. I sent him to go learn Torah. And it's not my fault he doesn't know what he's talking about. I said, you told me to put him to go learn Torah, right? I said, yes. And Sharon said, yes. Okay, so bring him to Gan Eden. But why would we bring him? Because I'm in Gan Eden. I'm lonely. I need my husband. So I'm going to Gan Eden because of my wife. But that's the love. That's the love. That's the love between a Jewish couple. So the Chachamim tell us in some of the mystical books, which I learned with my Rav, a few things, that the Imaot, the matriarchs, they have a Gan Eden, and the Avot have Gan Eden. And they visit each other. They have a time during the day that they visit each other. Sarah Imenu visits Avraham Avinu, the Leah, Rachel, Rivka, they visit their husbands. Meaning they're not together all day having a drink on the beach. The husband learning Torah, doing whatever it is that you do in Olam HaBa, and the women also. Women also. So yes, if the wife and the husband are in the same level, which in essence means that they both elevated each other, you will be able to see each other eternally. But if one is a rasha and the other one's a tzaddik or tzaddikah, and so on and so forth, surely they will not be together, simply because, again, it's not like the story of the Rogatchover Rebbe to express his love for his wife. In reality, if he wasn't a tzaddik, he wouldn't be in Gan Eden, even if his wife is a tzaddikah. Everybody has to get to Gan Eden on their own merit. A wife has to make sure that a husband learns Torah. Obviously, she herself also has to learn, because she has to maintain a Jewish household. She has to learn Halachot Shabbat. She has to learn Musar. She has to learn the Kashrut laws, Tarat Mishpacha. There's a lot of stuff that a woman needs to know herself. And she should also go to a Shiur Torah, and she should also learn on a regular basis. But the bigger obligation for more halachot is on the husband. And if a wife does not cry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for her husband and kids to learn Torah, she did not fulfill her mission in this world. No, but I read Tehillim every day. Don't read Tehillim. Just send them to yeshiva. Don't read a single book of Tehillim your whole life. Just make sure they go to Shiur Torah. Why? Tehillim is good, but not if that's at the cost of your kids are all chilonim. Like sometimes women have a warped idea of what their obligation in the world is. They think that if they hang out with their girlfriends, read Tehillim all day, that makes them righteous. If your husband and kids are not serious about learning Torah, you have a serious problem. You have a very serious problem. And the problem is that many times women say, yeah, but I tried. You didn't want to do it. When did you try? I don't know. I tried for a couple of years. I gave up. Oh, okay. So you didn't try then. If you tried, that means you tried yesterday and today. And you're going to try tomorrow. And you're never going to give up. But there's different ways to try. It's not to be misunderstood. Sometimes I have people call me ask me for different shlom bayit issues and things like that. And many times people think that I'm more harsh on the guys. More harsh on the guys about how their manners are terrible and so on. Many people think that. And they're right. I am. It's true. I am more harsh on the guys. Why? Because more times than not, guys act like animals. But it doesn't mean that the women are all malachim. Many times, the guys act certain ways because the women don't know how to treat them. Now, if a guy, if a man, if a husband, if a Jew is going to be a good husband, he has to learn Torah. If a woman is going to be a good wife, she also has to learn Torah, and she has to convince him to learn Torah. The problem is that sometimes we think that we are good enough by ourselves and everybody else is nothing. And what ends up happening is that you have women that they go to a Shiur Torah, they read Tehillim with their girlfriends, they speak Divrei Torah among each other, and become little rebbitzins among each other. And their husbands, they care less what they do. And they disrespect their husbands in such an awful way, thinking that it's okay. Now, if you disrespect your husband and you don't make sure that your husband is a king in your house, for sure you're not a queen. If you treat your husband like he's some janitor, if you disrespect him like he's a nobody, if you make fun of your husband by calling him a loser, for sure you're going to Gehinnom. Why? Because Isha bona, Isha oreset. A woman builds, a woman destroys. If you do not build your husband to make sure he wants to learn Torah, he wants to do mitzvot, he wants to do everything possible to make sure that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy, even if it's just to please you. If you don't get him to that, you have failed miserably in this world. What? You think that maybe because you make some YouTube videos for your girlfriends to watch, you think because you walk around modest, you think because you read the parasha, you think that because you know a few things about Torah, that gets you Gan Eden? No, that you're not going to find a single place in the Torah that says that. There's not a single place in the Torah that says that a woman that gives Shiur Torah, or a woman that knows Torah, or a woman that reads Tehillim every day is going to Gan Eden. Not a single place. You know what it says? You have to get your husband to go learn Torah. How do you get him? Why? Do you think if you call him a loser, he's going to go learn Torah? You think if you tell him, listen, you don't learn, no food. Stay outside. Sleep on a bench with the homeless people. You think that's going to get him to go learn Torah? Think it's going to build your husband? Best case scenario will be a loser. At the best case scenario. Why? A husband, as macho as he is, needs the support of his wife. He needs to feel like he's the best in her eyes. Same thing with the woman. Woman needs to feel like she's the most beautiful in her husband's eyes. If the husband looks at other women, automatically that makes the wife feel ugly. Why? Why is he looking at other women if I'm pretty? So if he's looking at other women, whether it be internet or in real life or whatever, if he's looking at other women, then obviously I'm not pretty enough for him. So maybe I should be more provocative, or maybe I should look like one of these parrot, one of these cows that walks around with no clothes, or maybe I should act like... She starts thinking she's self-conscious. Why? He's not looking at me. He's not paying me attention. He's not telling me how much he loves me. Surely, so that means that he doesn't think I'm pretty. He doesn't think of this. So she loses her confidence based on the attention her husband gets. But it's not a one-way street, ladies. It's not a one-way street. The husband, if the wife does not make him feel like a king, as soon as he gets into the house, there is no 1 second, honey, I'm finishing a phone call. That doesn't exist in a Jewish house. It doesn't exist. As soon as you hear your husband that learned yesterday's shiur that knows he has to knock on his own house door, hang up. Hang up. No, honey, I'll be with you in a second. Nothing like that. The second your husband arrives in the house, you have to stop everything you're doing, go say hello. Oh, but I'm relaxing on the couch. Get up, the king arrived. Bemet, that's what Allah is. You have to get up when the husband came home. You have to get up. Why? He's the king. Well, how come he doesn't treat me like a queen? Because you didn't make him a king. You treated him like he's some bus driver. You treat him like he's some teacher. You treat him like he's some, whatever his profession is. Not as a king. So, obviously, you cannot be a queen if he's not a king. The second he arrives home, you have to stop what you're doing, go welcome your husband. Yeah, but I'm tired. Okay, so become untired. Become untired. Just like when your girlfriend shows up, and you were tired, but as soon as your girlfriend shows up, all of a sudden you have energy. All of a sudden you have energy to talk for 4 hours straight about everything that happened in the last 3 hours since you last talked to her. All of a sudden you have energy. Before she came, you had the sponge on your head. Oh, I'm dying, honey, I'm dying. I'm dying, I need to rest, I'm dying. The second your girlfriend came out, she came out. Oh, what are you doing? 4 hours speech, 4 hours. You just spoke to her 3 hours ago. How do you have 4 hours of material? 4 hours haven't passed since the last you spoke to her. 4 hours, you have energy all of a sudden. 3 hours ago, you're almost dying. But she showed up to your house, surprise, 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 all of a sudden you have an energy. No, why'd you tell her to go? No, I'm okay. I thought you were dying. Honey, I was going to call 911. No, I'm okay. You're extreme. Well, you just told me to call 911. No. All of a sudden you have energy. Your husband arrived, you have to have the most amount of energy in the world. Meaning, you have to look pretty. Do not welcome your husband with a sponge on your head, look like you just came from Tisha B'Av. You came from some funeral. Makeup's over here, and there. It looks like you're some cartoon. You have to look pretty when you're... Yeah, but he comes home late. It's 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so be ready at 10 o'clock at night. Why? That's your job. The king arrived. The king arrived. You want to be a queen? You have to have a king. There's no queen by herself unless it's in England. 500 years she's a queen, no husband. Shtabach Shimo. Woman is older than some religions in the world. Where's the husband? So, king arrived, you have to look pretty. You have to get ready. Guess what? He has to have food too. Oh, but I'm tired. Okay, so you should have been untired and made him food. Okay, honey, I'll make him what he likes. Why? He went to learn Torah. He went to learn Torah. Make him what he likes. If your husband is picky when it comes to food, make him what he likes. Don't tell me, here's some potato chips. Good Laila Tov. If your husband's picky, you want him to become a Talmid Chacham, feed him. Now, I'm not telling you that you have to make him a 3-course meal every night, but he has to be happy. He has to feel that when he comes home, he's welcome there. Never use such language like, oh, you're here? What do you mean, oh, I live here? What do you mean, oh, I'm here? Where do you want me to be? Oh, no, I thought you were working. Are you implying that I should go back to work? I could just live at work if you want. Maybe you'll pay the mortgage. You have to be excited. You have to be excited to see your husband. Why? He's the king. The king arrived. Now, if you're half asleep, make us over here, you only look good when you go to the supermarket for Jose. Guess what? Your husband's not going to be happy. So he's going to say, listen, I'm learning Torah, but no one cares. When I made money, she cared. Why? I bought her a nice diamond bracelet, she cared. But when I got a chidush, she didn't care. In fact, she told me I don't even like it. Guess what? You just destroyed his entire ego, his entire confidence system. You didn't like his story about Moshe Rabbeinu. You didn't like his story about Rabbi Akiva. You said, no, the rabbi says it better. Guess what? You just destroyed him. You are going to be judged in Shemaim as a murderer. Why? Your husband gave you a story. You didn't like it, you had to pretend you like it. Just like he sometimes pretends to like your food, you have to pretend to like his story. Why? Isha bona, isha oreset. Just like you don't like when he compares you to his mother, don't compare him to the rabbi. Like his stories, cheer him up. Honey, you're really getting better at this. Wow, I love this. Pretend. Pretend. Why? You have to build him. One of the Gdolei Ador, Rabotai Karim, when he was still a nar, a young guy, 20 years old, just got married. Already at 20 years old, no one knew who he was. His wife would call him Gdol Ador. One of the Avrechim at his college, young guy, came, knocked at the house. Yes? Oh, I want to see. He said his name. Who? Called him by his first name. Who you want to see? Nobody like that. No, what? This is not the house of a... You mean the Gdol Ador? You dare call the Gdol Ador by his first name? The guy got shocked. He's never... Mamash made the guy, red, his whole face became red. Why? How you call the Gdol Ador? One time another guy came to the house. And the Rav said, come here. And she saw that the guy is taking his time. She yelled at him. The Gdol Ador is telling you to stand up. You're still sitting. You know what happened to him? He became the Gdol Ador. He became the biggest rabbi in the world. You know why? His wife built him up. But if your wife tells you you're a loser, at the best case scenario, you become a loser. If your wife insults you, tells you you're nothing, I should have married somebody else, guess what? He wishes you did too. At the best case scenario, you'll be a loser. So this is why, Rabotai, Musar is for everyone. Not just for the husbands. Not just for the wives. For everyone. For your kids too. For your kids too. It is more common that men do certain things that are worse than what women do, but nonetheless, unfortunately today, people in general do not know how to treat each other. They don't know how to treat each other, they don't know how to respect each other, and then they complain that they don't want to be with each other. Oh, he doesn't want to be with me anymore. Yeah, who would? Who would want to be with you? I'm surprised he even said that, oh, I do in the first case. All you do is insult. You never want to do anything good. Everything is for you, you. You're the most selfish person on planet Earth. So he's doing you a favor. He's leaving you alone so he can be with you. Marry yourself. This is a common problem. Because everyone is looking for themselves. You want to be married successfully? You have to do everything possible for the other side, with nothing expected in return. Do everything possible to make her happy. You do everything possible to make him happy. If all of your attention is only focused on making each other happy, guess what? You'll both be happy. But if you're only going to work off of the barter system, the barter system, which is, I'm going to do this for you if you do this for me, guess what? You're both going to be miserable. Why? Who goes first? I'll do it after you do it. I'll do it after you do it. And guess what? Nobody does anything. Everybody stays miserable. You sit in the same house and you're roommates, not soulmates. Roommates. Yeah, I live with this lady. You mean your wife? Yeah, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that one. She cooks once in a while. Yeah, that one. The chef. The cleaning lady. And she tells her girlfriend, yeah, the plumber. You mean your husband? Yeah, whatever. The guy that unplugs the toilet whenever it gets flooded. Yeah, that guy. He's there. Yeah. That's what happens. Why? No love. It's roommates. You have to be soulmates. You have to love each other. But that means you have to remove yourself. I don't want anything in return. I just want to make you happy. What happens if you're doing everything possible to make her happy and she's not making you happy? Keep going. Kill them with kindness. Keep doing your job. Don't worry about their job. Focus on making them happy. Mitzvah Hashem. It'll be reciprocated, or at the worst case scenario, you'll just have a lot of kaparat avanot. You go to Gan Eden just for that. But that's a very important question today, because simply you have people getting married, but they don't know how to stay married. Because there's virtually no courses for how to remain married. There's consultants that charge you $300-400 a month just to hear you complain. You have to know what to do. Those consultants are not going to help you. You can help you. You can help you by listening to the Torah. Next question. We're almost... Oh no, we have some time. Yes, Rabbi. Sorry.
Rabbi Yisrael Slanter said that Kiddush Hashem rectifies Chil Hashem. How come the Gemara said that TeShuva for Chil Hashem starts at death?
Zakul Baruch. Zakul Baruch. So, the Sephir by Rabbi Yitzhak Blazer, the Talmid Muvak of Rabbi Yisrael Misalant, it's a book called Netivei Or, has a section by Rabbi Yitzhak Blazer, and then also the letters of Rabbi Yisrael Misalant. And in there, there's a very extraordinary, mamash, sweet tshuva to a big question about how do you rectify Chilul Hashem. When the Gemara says to rectify Chilul Hashem, desecrating Hashem's name, begins at death. Why? Because the damage that comes from Chilul Hashem, there's nothing that's enough. That's enough for you to do to fix it. Pretty much, a person has to suffer if he does Chilul Hashem, because the damage is unlimited. We don't understand what unlimited means because we are limited, but when somebody, let's say for example, says something against Hashem, okay? Let's say like one of these foolish people that has a show or page against the Torah. They don't think it's a big deal. They make a joke of the Torah and so on. They don't think it's a big deal. But one day, a young man or woman is going to listen to one of these jokes, one of these insults, and that is going to cool him off or her off on their avodat Hashem. It's going to cool them off. They were really happy about being religious, happy about Hashem, but they heard this joke and they kind of found it funny and they kind of found it cool. And little by little, they got cooled off a little bit. So now instead of being 100%, they're at 90. But now they're already on a downward spiral. And they told a joke to another person, and that other person wasn't at 100. That other person was already at 70. And now he's dropped to 50. And that person that's at 50 told another person that was already at 50, that person became 0. And the damage continues where the desecration of Hashem's name has no limits. And simply why? Because now each person, as they go down, their mitzvot that they're doing become lesser, and also they do less mitzvot. Like the value of their mitzvot is not as good because they don't have the kavanah, but also they don't feel like doing certain things anymore. Somebody asked them for tzedakah, instead of giving them 20, they give them 2. Somebody asked them to come to the Shiur Torah, they ask them how long is the Shiur instead of where is it. Oh, if it's 2 hours, no, it's too long. I'm going to go to the 10-minute Shiur. And so on and so forth. Their avodat Hashem, their servitude of Hashem continues to decrease, and the damage from that is simply unlimited because it continues. We're a never-ending domino effect. Hence the reason of why to pay the price for such a damage must begin in a different world. But then Rabbi Yisrael Misalan brings a chidush and he says to rectify Chilul Hashem can be done with Kiddush Hashem. Why can it be done with Kiddush Hashem? Because Kiddush Hashem also has a unlimited capacity, unlimited effect. So much so that a single act of a person could literally change the lives of countless people. And I'll show you how. Maybe about 5 or so years ago, give or take, a story became publicized where there was a religious Jew in Eretz Yisrael. His car broke down on the road and he didn't notice, but he ran out of gas. So he was in the middle of the desert somewhere. He had to get out of his car, take one of these gallon tanks, and walk to the nearest gas station. Walked, and he got to it. And as he walked, in the scorching heat, about to fill up gas, he saw a huge billboard on the gas station saying, "Open 24/7. He quickly turned around and left. Continued walking, and after a little while of walking, somebody pulled over next to him with an American accent, said, "How can I help you?" In Hebrew, obviously. "Where are you going?" "It's hot." "You okay?" He said, "No, my car broke down. I need to walk to the nearest gas station." It's "Okay, hop in, I'll take you." So, you start driving. He says, "You know that there was a gas station back there." He says, "Yeah, but I didn't want to fill up gas over there." He said, "Why not?" He says, "Because they mechalel Shabbat." He said, "What do you mean? What is that?" He says, "They work on Shabbat. They have a sign on the gas station, open 24/7. He says, "Why do you care?" The guy was Jewish, the American guy was Jewish, but he didn't know anything about Judaism. And he was just simply visiting Israel. So the religious guy said, "Let me explain this to you. If somebody made a billboard, and on the billboard, he wrote all types of insults on your father, about your father. Your father is horrible, your father is terrible, your father is this, all types of things against him. Would you go do business with him?" "What business?" "I'll burn the place." Okay. We don't burn places. We don't burn anything. But we don't do business with people that go and desecrate our Father in Heaven's name. By them saying that they are doing business on Shabbat, the one day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bechvodo Be'atzmo, said He rested, and He wants us to rest, and He commanded us to rest, that's not just them violating Shabbat, that's them advertising their carelessness and despise of my Father in heaven. That's them advertising their insults publicly about my Father. I cannot bring myself to do business with them, even if that means I have to walk in a desert for several more miles. So the young man never really heard such a thing, but he said, "Okay, suit yourself," gave him a ride to the gas station, got the gas, drove him back, shtabach shimo. At the end of the meeting, exchanged his number, said, "If you're ever in America, come pass by. If you're ever in Israel, you want to come for Shabbat, pass by." But nothing happened. Years passed, and one day this avrech gets a phone call in his house. "Yes, Rabbi such and such?" "Yes." "Are you with Teudat Zeut, identification in Israel? This and this number?" "Yes." "You live in this address?" "Yes." "Okay, we need to see you at our office." "What office?" "Our law office. We have a lawyer, we're lawyers. We need to see you at the office, come to Tel Aviv." Why? Why do you want to see me? What happened? Well, there is a business transaction that we need to complete. No, maybe make sure. I don't do business. I learn Torah all day. I don't do business. Sir, it's worth it for you to come. No, but come on, I have to learn. Sir, it's just, you need to come. There's a serious, important thing for you to come. There's an inheritance here. Inheritance? Are you sure you're talking to the right person? I don't want to go spend 7 shekels on a bus, a couple hours to Tel Aviv. I don't have that kind of time. It's worth it for you to come. Poor guy says, okay. Goes to the law office, meets the lawyer, shows him the ID, they confirm it's him. Said, okay, you have a inheritance, 10% of the inheritance of such and such person. He says, why? He says, that's where you were gifted. He says, but I don't know him. He says, well, he knows you. He says, who decided this? This person, you want to call him? Sure, let's call him. They call the number. Say, hey, how are you? Said, yeah, I'm fine, but who are you? He says, don't you remember me years ago? I'm the one that gave you a ride in the desert to the gas station. Oh, how are you? How you doing? He goes, what is this? He says, listen, my father, he died. And he left me some money, but he had a unique condition on his will. He said, give 10% to someone that cares about God. And I don't know anybody that cares about God. I'm a business guy. I don't know anybody. I do my thing. But then I thought, how could I can't get the inheritance until I meet this condition. And I thought, oh yeah, you know what? There's one guy that I know that cares about God. Why? Because he cares enough to go walk 5 more miles in a desert and almost put his life on the line just because some gas station works on Shabbat. That guy cares about God. And that's you. And he says, thank you very much. What do I need to do? He says, no, just sit over there. The lawyer is about to give you a check for $1 million. You excuse me? What do you mean $1 million? That's the inheritance? He goes, no, that's your section. The inheritance was $10 million. You get 10%. He goes, no, you sure? It's a lot of money. I mean, I make $500 a month. That's enough. No. I don't know what $1 million is. Because it's not even enough for you. You care about God. You deserve more. And this Avrech Rabotai Karim got $1 million. Why? Cares about God. Now, of course, the $1 million is nothing. Nothing in comparison to what he's going to get in Olam HaBa. Not only for sanctifying a Kadosh Baruch Hu's name when no one was watching. No one was watching him walk away from the gas station. He never knew that anyone would identify him walking away. No one was there to witness it. It's not like a story he could tell his friends, oh yeah, I was in the desert and the guy was working on Shabbat and I said, no, I'm going to walk another 5 miles and put my life on the line. No one would see it. No one would know it. No one would believe it if you didn't hear it today. It was a Kiddush Hashem at the highest level, but you know what? That Kiddush Hashem doesn't end. You know why? Because that Kiddush Hashem led to the other guy. And the other guy saw it. And the other guy ended up understanding what caring about Hashem is. And then the other guy ended up doing a mitzvah of helping a ben Torah learn Torah. But that's not even it. Today, years later, you're all learning from it. You're all learning that HaKadosh Baruch Hu bechvodo be'atzmo, him himself, is watching everything. And he doesn't stop paying reward for people that sanctify his name. So that little walk away from the gas station, that Kiddush Hashem has no limitation. And just like that Kiddush Hashem has no limitation, Chilul Hashem has no limitation. And that's why Rabbi Yisrael Misalant gives a Chidush. He says the only way to fix Chilul Hashem that has no limitation is Kiddush Hashem with no limitation. Why? They both simply are the only thing that could be something that match each other. The only thing that can match each other. Because nothing else is unlimited like it. This is why, Rabotai, we try to do as much as possible, Kiddush Hashem, any opportunity that we can. But again, it's not an easy mitzvah. It's not an easy mitzvah. The Chachamim not all of them will have the same opinion on every single thing. Some people, some chachamim, will outright say that yes, the Chilul Hashem, even the Kiddush Hashem, is not going to fix it. It's not going to fix it. Chilul Hashem will have its punishment, Kiddush Hashem will have its reward. This is not accepted by everyone. But Rabbi Yisrael Misalant, many of his followers, many of the rabbis that he learned from, of course, many chachamim said the same exact thing. Said, yes, this zeh keneged zeh bara Elokim. Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu is not looking for ways to punish us. He's not looking for ways to get back at us. So if we have an opportunity to fix something that we did, of course He's going to give it to us. So that's the dot. So yes, you're going to have some chachamim that say that no, this one gets his reward, this one gets his punishment. But you're going to have also chachamim that you could rely on, like Rabbi Yisrael Misalant, his talmidim and his rabbis and so on, that will say that yes, this can actually wipe out that. And that's also some of the things that I learned myself. Next question. Good.
If you live in a city and you don't have a place to go to, or you don't have a rabbi there in that city, and you study, there's other people that also do Torah. Are you allowed to study with them? And if you're
well, a person that's Jewish is not allowed to live on an island by himself. Meaning, he has to become part of a community. He has to do everything possible to become part of a Jewish community. And a Jewish community means that there is a synagogue, an Orthodox synagogue with a rabbi. There's a Jewish school for the kids. The Rambam writes, if there's no Jewish school in a city, that city has no right to exist. That's the halakha. So that means that there has to be a Jewish a synagogue, a place to pray, a place for the next generation to learn and become tzaddikim, to become talmidei chachamim, and he has to learn from talmidei chachamim. He can't just learn with just his friends because they like it and he likes it and she likes it. It's not a good thing. Why? Because who says you're right? Who says that you like it, but who says that you like something that's right? Maybe your understanding is wrong. So you need to have a Talmid Chacham that it's in essence telling you which way is right, which way is wrong. Plus, how are you going to serve Hashem? How are you going to pray during the holidays? What are you going to do a minyan by yourself? There's no minyan by yourself. You know, during the holidays, Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah that's coming up, you have to listen to the shofar. You have to do all types of different things that are only done in the Keilah. During Sukkot, you have to have the lulav. You have to have the etrog. If you live in an island by yourself, there's no community. Where are you going to get these things from? Do you even know what to do with them? So a person that wants to live a kosher Jewish life has to live in a Jewish community. Now, of course, there are times in a person's life that he's going to move around and there's not going to be something there at that moment. But as long as there is something coming in the very near future, it's being worked on, there's money being gathered, there's people being gathered, and something's going to coming in the near future, that's fine. That's fine, because sometimes Am Yisrael would have to travel from place to place and restart all over again. But if a person simply says, no, I was born here, I'm going to die here, if a God wants there to be a synagogue here, he'll bring it here type of mentality, okay, buddy. We'll see if you have the guts to say that to HaKadosh Baruch Hu when you get up there. You have to make sure you do whatever you can to go find the Torah. Go chase the Torah. And the problem is today is that people think that HaKadosh Baruch Hu owes them something. Like, if he wants me to be religious, why didn't he send a rabbi here? If he wants me to be religious, why didn't he send the community here? If he wants me to be religious, why didn't he make everybody else agree? It doesn't work that way. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted robots, he'd create robots. One of the most important mitzvot that a person needs to know about is the Mitzvah of Mesirut Nefesh. Mitzvah of Mesirut Nefesh is not an easy mitzvah. By default, it's the opposite. What is Mesirut Nefesh? Self-sacrifice. Self-sacrifice for Hashem. Now, question comes in the Gemara, Masechet Pesachim, page 53b. Says, when do you know that you are a Eved Hashem, a servant of Hashem? Everybody thinks that they're a servant of Hashem as soon as they put a kippah on, or a kisui rosh, a long skirt, a dress, maybe peot, maybe a tzitzit. Everybody thinks, no, I'm a servant of Hashem. All day I'm watching shiurim. Yeah, you're a servant of Hashem. You have to test yourself. How do you know you're a servant of Hashem? I pray. Doesn't mean you're a servant of Hashem. I learn Torah. Doesn't mean you're a servant of Hashem. I do mitzvot. Doesn't mean you're a servant of Hashem. Who's servant of Hashem? Moshe Rabbeinu was servant of Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu was servant of Hashem. But you're also obligated to be servant of Hashem. Eved Hashem. How do you know? We're all obligated to be Eved Hashem. The ladies, the men, everybody. Not to be Moshe Rabbeinu. Everybody's in their own level. But the point being, we're all obligated to do it. How do you know you're there? How do you know how did you get there? As soon as you come to the conclusion that you're going to do what Hashem said, even when you don't want to, that's when you start understanding the role of an Eved Hashem. If your servitude of Hashem is only on your conditions, you are as far from being an Eved Hashem as Bilam was. If you are going to serve Hashem only when it fits your agenda, only when it fits your schedule, only when it fits your budget, only when it fits your lifestyle, you're not an Eved Hashem. You're just another person that maybe does some mitzvot. An Eved doesn't have his own or her own will. An Eved has the will of the master. Now, of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that he wants to do it, but he's going to do it because the master said so. So that means that the master said, wake up early in the morning. I don't want to wake up in the morning. Who wants to wake up early in the morning? No one wants to wake up early in the morning. But the master said to wake up early in the morning. So guess what you have to do? You want to be an Eved Hashem? You have to wake up early in the morning. You don't want to be an Eved Hashem? Or you want to pretend? Pretend. Wake up at 12, 1, 2, 3, 5 o'clock. Wake up. Go ahead. Pretend in your head. Eved Hashem means you have to learn Torah. Yeah, but I don't like to learn Torah. Okay, so you're not going to Eved Hashem. No, but I want to be Eved Hashem. Okay, I'll learn Torah when I get a chance. That's not an Eved Hashem. I'll learn Torah when I have time. That's not an Eved Hashem. I'll learn Torah when I'm in a good mood. That's not an Eved Hashem. I'll learn Torah when I feel good. It's not an Eved Hashem. You know what Eved Hashem is? You learn Torah even when you don't want to. Even when you're sick. Even when you feel like you're about to die. Even when you feel like you're on fire. Even when you are tired. Even when you are busy. Even when you hate it. Even when you don't understand it. Even when you simply want to run away. You know what you do? You learn Torah. That's an Eved Hashem. Yeah, but I feel like I'm wasting my time. Perfect. Just do it. Yeah, but I'm not benefiting out of it. No, you're benefiting. You're being an Eved Hashem. Yeah, but I'm not learning anything. I'm learning. I'm reading. I don't understand a single word. Perfect. Who said you have to understand? Who said you have to understand? What did HaKadosh Baruch Hu command? Learn Torah. Learn Torah. He didn't say you have to understand. Learn Torah. Obviously, try to understand, but learn Torah. Yeah, but why don't I just go read, like, I don't know, a kid's book or something? If that's Torah in that kid's book, read it. But if it's not Torah, then read what you're reading. Why? Because that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to do. But it's hard. Perfect. That's perfect Eved. What do you think? It's an easy job for the Eved? An Eved Hashem, Rabotai, is the person that when someone insults him, when someone yells at him, especially when it's his wife, especially when it's her husband, and she knows Hashem doesn't want me to respond. Hashem doesn't want me to curse back. But I want to. I want to curse him to make sure his mother is reminded of what I think of him. I want to do something to this person that he's going to remember for the next 3 generations. But you know what I'm going to do? Nothing. Why? Because Hashem doesn't want me to do it. I want to do it. And I actually think he deserves it. What am I going to do? Nothing. I'm going to sit quiet. Tatale, I love you, honey. While he's cursing me. Yes, show me he's cursing. I love you so much. You're so cute when you curse. You're so adorable. What do you want to eat? What do you want to eat? You want salad with the steak? Why? Hashem wants me to stay like this. Why? Because if I fight with him, you know what's going to happen? It's going to get worse. So I'm going to do what Hashem wants me to do. What Hashem wants me to do, stay quiet. Yeah, but he's insulting you publicly. He's writing stuff against you on the internet. He wrote 8, 9, 10 articles about you. He called you names. He did this. Baruch Hashem. What do you mean Baruch Hashem? Why don't you tell him back? Why? For what purpose? To show who? Who am I showing? Did he insult Hashem? No, he insulted you. Who cares about me? If he insulted Hashem, that's something for me to respond to. Insulted me? Who cares about that? Why? Hashem. It's all the thing. It's the only thing that matters. And Eved Hashem Rabotai Yekarim means that you're going to do a bunch of stuff that you don't want to do. Why? Hashem wants you to do it. And as soon as we realize that that's the life we're supposed to aspire to be, that's when we begin our journey of being an Eved Hashem. Not quite Eved Hashem, but that's when we begin our journey. The Gemara says in the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse number 38, Daniel translates dreams for Nebuchadnezzar. Nebuchadnezzar, the Midrash says that he was the son or the grandson of Shlomo HaMelech, but also destroyed the Beit HaMikdash as a measure-for-measure punishment from Hashem for the mistake that Shlomo made marrying the queen Shiva. But nonetheless, Nebuchadnezzar was given a prophecy in a dream that the prophet Daniel told him what it is, that he'll be the most powerful king until the Mashiach. Now, Nebuchadnezzar did not like it. Why he didn't like it? He says, why only until Mashiach? Why only until Mashiach? Why can't I be the strongest king ever? It's not enough to control the whole world while I'm alive. I want to control the whole world even after I'm dead, forever. Wasn't enough for him. So what did he do? Nebuchadnezzar said, see, in a dream, I dreamt that the top of the idol was gold, and then silver, and so on and so forth. But it's different material, representing different kingdoms that would follow me. So this is what I'm going to do. To fix this prophecy, I'm going to make an idol that's all gold. And I'm going to make all of the nations bow to it. And in chapter 3 of the book of Daniel, the test of all tests is given where this enormous monstrosity of an idol, this golden idol, enormous idol that Nebuchadnezzar had built, is raised, and as a celebration he commands all of the leaders to come of all the nations and bow to it or die. Now everyone knew Nebuchadnezzar doesn't joke around. Including Am Yisrael. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, who are also called Shadrach, Neshach, and Abednego. By Nebuchadnezzar, he called them different names to fit the culture of Babylon. They were given a test. Why? They were the ones that had to bow to this idol. So they went to the prophet, and they said to the prophet, is Hashem going to make a miracle for us or not? Meaning, if we don't bow, he's going to throw us in the fire. Is Hashem going to save us for standing up for him or no? Hashem says to the prophet, tell them no. If they want to die in Kiddush Hashem, they're welcome to do it. I will not save them. Prophet tells them, and they all walk away from the prophet with complete intention that they're going to jump into the fire. They're not going to bow to this idol. They're going to die on Kiddush Hashem. In chapter 3, verse number 19, Nebuchadnezzar sees that these three tzaddikim refuse to bow to the idol, And it says Nebuchadnezzar was filled with fury, and the form of his face became contorted. At Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, the Midrash says that his face physically changed as a result of his anger. That's how angry he got. Because it was a public desecration of his face. Public desecration of who he was. These three Jews, they're not going to bow to my idol when all of these powerful kings are. He got so angry, his face changed. And he commanded them to throw these three tzaddikim into the fire. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, of course, saved them as he intended originally. And when the prophet, right after the three tzaddikim left, the prophet asked Hashem, how come you're not going to save them? Hashem says, I am going to save them. I just didn't want them to know that I'm going to save them. Because I want them to get the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem. But if they know that I'm going to save them anyway, there's no mitzvah. There's no free choice. So it's not that Hashem changed his mind. He just wanted them to get the mitzvah, and already from the beginning he told the prophet, I'm going to save them. It's written in the Torah. So now the question the Gemara says, Masechet Pesachim, where did these three tzaddikim get the strength to do this? Now, you can tell me you love God until you're blue in the face. Come on now. You're jumping into a fire? You're jumping into a fire. It's not an easy decision, even if you're a righteous person. Many righteous people have failed in the past. To jump into a fire, it's a big thing. You know how I know it's a big thing? It's written in the Tanakh. It's not written in some storybook. If it's written in the Tanakh, it's a big deal. So now the question is, where did they get this strength? Where did they learn this from? The Gemara says they learned it from the frogs in Egypt. Frogs in Egypt. Why? The plague of the frogs, after Paro said, enough, I'm going to let you go, Moshe Rabbeinu prayed to Hashem and said, for the frog, Hashem commanded for these frogs to leave Egypt, to leave this place, that place, this place, that place, and go into the water, go into the fire, go into the ovens, just go away. So now the Gemara says, wait a minute, hold on a second. You're saying that Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they learned, they got the courage, they got the chidush, the insight to go jump in the fire because they learned it from the frogs. Why? Because the frogs, after HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded them to leave, what happened? Some of them jumped into the fire. They jumped into the fire. Why? Because the frog said, okay, I can go and jump in the water. I can go and run away, but that will take more time. And Hashem's will is not going to be fulfilled for those extra few minutes. It's better that I jump into a fire and serve Hashem now than let Hashem wait another 2 minutes. The frogs thought this. So the Chachamim say, but wait a minute. But that means that Hashem did command him to jump into the fire. Because he said, jump into the fire. So comes Rabbi Yitzchak, Rav Yaakov Naiman. And he says, yes. You see, Rabotai, it's not just that they learned from the frogs. It could have easily said, learn from Avraham Avinu. Why does he learn from the frogs? Because if you look at the Psukim in Sefer Shmot, it says, Hashem said, go. Fire, water, this place, that place. Meaning, you have a bunch of choices. You go into the fire, or you go into the water, or you can run away, or you can go all types of places. Just like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, they also had multiple choices. The fire wasn't the only choice. They could have simply ran away. They could have hidden. They could have done a lot of things. They could have committed suicide. But they chose the fire. Why? Because that's Mesirut Nefesh. Mesirut Nefesh, Rabotai Yekarim, is when you have multiple options, but you choose the hardest option because that's the will of Hashem. Yeah, I can serve Hashem and pray at 11 o'clock in the morning because praying at 6 in the morning is hard. That's not Mesirut Nefesh. Mesirut Nefesh is to pray at 6. Yeah, I could go to a Shiur, but I'm only going to stay for the first half hour. Why? Because 2 hours is long and I got to wake up early. Okay, so it's good to learn for a half hour, but it's not Mesirut Nefesh. You know what Mesirut Nefesh? Staying till the end and sleeping less as a result. Why? Because I want this Torah. I can give $100, $200 easy because I have it in my pocket. $1,000, $2,000 I also have, but that's going to hurt my pocket a little bit. No problem. $100 is a mitzvah. $200 is a mitzvah. It's not a problem. I'm not saying it's a sin, but it's not Eved Hashem. Eved Hashem is I'm going to do more. Why? It's the hardest option. It's the will of Hashem. That's what I'm going to do. It's a hard life. Shlomo HaMelech met a frog one time, the Midrash says. And the frog tells him, I'm more important than you. Shlomo HaMelech says, why are you more important than me? He says, you just think that I'm just like making noises all day. What you don't realize is that every word that comes out of my mouth, I'm sanctifying Hashem's name. All day I'm saying Baruch Hashem, 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 all day. All day I'm saying Baruch Hashem. No one does it like me. Every day we get a test to be like the frogs. We get the easy choice, mediocre choice, hard choice. Easy learning, go learn a 5-minute clip. Harder learning, read the first part of the weekly parasha with some commentary. Hardest learning, learn some serious Gemara. Break your head, break your teeth. Learn for 5 hours straight without eating, drinking, or wasting your time, and then finish the 5 hours and you don't even know what you learned, and continue again the next day. Hard. That's what you got to do. You have the choice. You could learn. You could watch Rabbi Yaron Reuven, 5-minute clip. Oh wow, Rabbi, you're the best. You changed my life. It's good. It's good. Thank you. Thank you. I have more zchiyot than shamayim. Shtabach shimo. Thank you. Not saying don't. You want to be an Eved Hashem, you have to add some Gemara to it, you have to add some Shulchan Aruch to it, you have to add poskim, you have to toil, you have to sleep less, you have to do this, you have to change your life. Why? Eved Hashem. It's not easy. Not easy, Rabotai Yekarim. Everybody thinks that to be a Rav Ovadia is easy. Why? Because most of us, our perception of Rav Ovadia was when he became a king already. Old man, tzaddik, kodesh kodashim, the goyim are scared of him, the Jews are scared of him, everybody loves him, everybody fears him. His kedusha was something that kings were scared of. Kings were scared of. One time Rav Ovadia was invited by the king of Spain. King of Spain to come to the castle. And him and the Rabbanit went. And all of a sudden they saw the Queen of Spain stop everything she was doing and start going like this because she saw that the Rabbanit got a little flustered because it was a little hot in the room. So the Queen of Spain started going like this. She stopped. The Queen started going like this. Rav Ovadia says to the Rabbanit, you see, a pasuk from the Torah was just fulfilled right now, that the kings of the other nations will serve the Talmidei Chachamim. But everyone knows these stories of how Rav Ovadia was the king, how he was Kodesh Kodashim. What does everybody don't know? When Rav Ovadia was still a young man, 16 years old, he already started giving shiurim, started writing. When he was 18, he came out and he said, the Ben Ish Chai is wrong. We go with the Shulchan Aruch. Why? That's what Am Yisrael accepted. Go to Shulchan Aruch. We don't go according to the Ben Ish Chai. We go according to the Shulchan Aruch. Now, this may not mean much until you know what happened. The Bavlim, the Babylonian Jews, Iraqis, hot-tempered people, they heard this. They said, Gzar din Mavit. You're allowed to kill him. Why? He went against our Kodesh Kodeshim, the Ben Ish Chai. Allowed to kill him. But, not right away. So after he said this, they waited for him outside. Hey, Ovadia, what are you doing? He said, the Ben Ish Chai is wrong. No, we go by the Shulchan Aruch. We pass according to Shulchan Aruch. It's not a good idea, Ovadia. What, I make it up, he says? That's Torah. Okay. The next day, he came out of the yeshiva and they beat him senseless until he lost consciousness for 24 hours. They beat him senseless. A bunch of them beat him up so bad he lost consciousness for 24 hours, in a coma for 24 hours. After that, he told his Rav, Rav Ezra Atiyah, that's it. No more shiurim, no more yeshiva. I'm just going to learn Torah at home. I'm going to become a recluse. I'm going to serve Hashem. Can't. I'm done. So life is almost died. Rav Ezra Atiyah saw his Talmid and he knew that Rav Ovadia is going to be Gadol Ador. You have to be a Gadol to identify Gadol. And he knew he has to get him back. So he got Rav Ovadia to come back to the yeshiva. But the problem is that the desecration and constant insults and constant threats didn't stop. And we're not talking about a bunch of secular people, anti-Torah people. We're talking about religious people, other Avrechim, other Sephardic people wanted to put him on Nidui. You know what Nidui is? He is banned, not allowed to pray with him, not allowed to talk to him, spit on him when you see him. Rav Ovadia! They wanted to put him on Nidui. But Rav Ephraim Cohen, Alav Shalom, he put a stop to it. Said, don't put him on Nidui, he's Talmid Chacham. But still, the constant insults and the constant abuse, this, that, continued. And Rav Atiyah, Rav Ezra Atiyah, Alav Shalom, knew exactly what to do in order to put a stop to it. He invited the Gadol Ador at the time, Rav Eliezer Silver, who was known around the world from America, but well respected all over the world. In America they respected him, here in Israel they respect everywhere. There's Kodesh Kodeshim. Rav Eliezer Silver was huge Talmid Chacham, and he says, Kvod Harav, please come speak at our place. Okay. Now, when you invite a speaker, especially Talmid Chacham, you don't have the Talmidim rip him up to pieces. Usually you listen to the Rav, thank you very much, Chazak u'Baruch. You have a question, maybe you ask at the end, that's it. But you don't go head to head. It's not kavod. But in this case, he told Rav Ovadia, at the end of the shiur, please, tell him what you think. Now, when Rav Eliezer Silver came, he didn't come by himself. Everyone followed. All of the Talmidei Chachamim of Yerushalayim, everybody came. All of the big ones, including the people that beat up Rav Ovadia, including the biggest rabbis. Everyone came. Was a big giant Chacham comes to speak, everyone wants to see. It's like today you have to WhatsApp people 500 times just to come to the shiur Torah for 10 minutes. Everyone came. He comes, gives a shiur, all types of things. Everyone's enamored, Kodesh Kodeshim, shiur out of this world. At the end of the shiur, after he's given the whole shiur, any questions? Little Ovadia comes out. He says, Kvod Rav, everything that the Rav said in this whole shiur, the Tosfot in Masechet Menachot says exactly the opposite. Meaning what? The Rav is wrong in our language. The whole shiur is wrong. Huh? Well, Ovadia runs to the back, gets Gemara Masechet Menachot, shows him. He knew the whole thing by heart. Here you go. For the Rav, Tosfot says exactly the opposite of what the Rav said the entire shiur. Rav Eliezer Silva was Kodesh Kodashim Ish Emet. He says, Tzadakta, you're right. Meaning what? The whole shiur is nothing. Don't take anything he said. Why? This little avrech that you just almost killed him a couple of months ago, he's right. That's when everybody understood. Ovadia, Kodesh Kodashim. Even the ones that said, oh, you went against, they became his biggest fans. Why? In it. But it wasn't just an easy peasy, oh yeah, he just became, if you study long enough, everyone's going to like you. It didn't work like that. You know, everyone likes to read the parts of the bio that after everybody makes it, after everybody succeeds, yeah, he has this, he has that. But nobody really understands that the real story is the war to get there. The war to get there, the battles to get there, the insults, the threats, the public desecration, the constant annoyance, the constant abuse. That's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. Why? He says, listen, look how much I cared about your kavod. I gave you a nice job, so you have a nice house. I gave you a nice wife, so you have a nice good time. I gave you a nice husband. I gave you nice kids. I gave you nice food. I gave you kavod. People liked you. People admired you. People this, people that. Look how much your whole life, 70, 80, 90, 120 years. Look how much I worried about your kavod. Now the question is, how come you didn't worry about my kavod at least like the frogs did? At least like the frogs did. If a person wants to be an Eved Hashem, you're not going to look for the easy route, just to get by. B'di'avad it's called. After the fact, it's allowed, but in reality you shouldn't have done it. If you want to be an Eved Hashem, it starts with getting your life used to sacrificing, especially when it's hard for you. Why? That's what Hashem wants. Rachmana liba ba'eh, the Gemara says. Hashem wants your heart. What's your heart? Everything. Make Hashem number one, and guess what happens? You become number one. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh v'Natzliach, we're very excited to offer you the new Bezrat Hashem app 3.0. It's a newer, faster app, full of Torah, lots of Kedusha by the Shiurim that we do, myself, Rav Ephraim, Rav Chaim, where you'll have also newer features where you're able to use the app while you're using other applications on your phone. You'll be able to share the lectures directly from the app. You'll be able to donate online and support our Kiruv and our Torah work that we're doing. And the most exciting feature is that you'll be able to actually ask questions directly on the app and get answers from the rabbis directly from the app. This is something unprecedented, and Baruch Hashem will be able to offer it. Thank you again for all of your support. Check it out. Make sure you have the kosher Torah that will re-energize your neshama each and every single day. Call to B'chava Tzlacha.